Hello and welcome to another Alpha Clash video here at Hobbies and Happiness. My name's Dan.
And I'm Jim. Today we're going over a tier list for the blue cards in Alpha Clash.
All right, we are on to blue. We are on to the blue cards for set number 1, The Awakening from Alpha Clash. We're having fun with this, having a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's so much fun. Now, before we get started, don't forget, if you like Alpha Clash, you want to see more Alpha Clash content from us, don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified when we release more Alpha Clash content in the future. Because you know what? We enjoy Alpha Clash. We're having fun making this content, and you want to know about it. So if you want to know about it, do all those things that we just said. And before we get into it, don't forget we've got our baseline. So our standard, we've got S through D. We've got what does S stand for, Jim?
Super tier.
Super tier.
Like superhero.
We've got A tier.
Yes.
Which is
awesome.
Awesome. What's B?
Bad.
B?
All right, not bad. It's not a bad tier.
So B is like it's a solid. It's a solid staple. C is
situational.
And D is
dog poop.
I like it. So our hot take so far, go watch the black card video. We've got some hot takes in there. That was fun.
Ready for that one?
Hey, you're not ready for that one, but if you want to see it, go check it out. And then again, we're not going to be discussing the main street contender. We did a separate video discussing all the contenders. You can find that one right here. That was one of the first ones that we released, so you can go check that out before you come here if you want to see Mean Streak, Mean Streak Ready to Brawl, and what we thought of Mean Streak. So yeah. So with all that out of the way, we're having fun with this. So let's dive right in. Like normal, we are starting with the Clash cards. The first Clash card we're going to talk about, Terrance T-Bone Bonnard. Again, love the art on all these cards. So Terrance T-Bone Bonnard is a 1-drop, 1 required resource. He's a 2/1 T-Bone Earth Clash card of the Alpha affiliation. He's a common card, and that's it. He's a vanilla 2/1 for 1. Yep. Jim, what do you think about Terrance?
Beautiful card, man.
Yep.
This 100% what I'm looking for on a 1-drop. Give me that 2 attack. Sure, you could have a bigger defense, but whatever. 2 attack is the important part. You're 100% going to be playing this guy in every single deck, even if you're not playing blue. I'm lying. A tier card. I think
again with that Alpha affiliation, he goes very well in Magnate decks. Yep. Fills out that one. I mean, Magnate has access to a lot of really good 2/1 alphas for 1. Yep. So a Magnate will turn those 2/1s into 2/2s. Yeah. So that being said, I mean, you can go A tier. You're going straight A, because honestly I went straight B plus, B plus. Because I'm trying to think. Did we say Sonoro? I'm trying to remember what we gave Sonoro. All things considered, I mean, he's a solid A. Yeah. I think he is a solid A card. So if you had to settle, if you settled on one, what would you settle on? A?
Yeah, I'd for sure give him A. High A.
Yeah, high A. Okay. Because Sonoro was another 1-drop. Yeah. He was a 2/1 for 1 as well.
Yeah. I think we gave him B because there's the other 1-drops that draw you a card. So like that's kind of better.
Yes.
But I just love 2 attacks. So I know. I'm saying A.
You can go higher than an A. You can go higher than a B plus, huh?
I can go higher than a B plus.
All right, I can go A minus. I could definitely go A minus.
I just love aggro decks.
I know. I know you do. I know you do. So A minus.
A minus.
A minus it is. All right, A minus for Terrance. For Terrance T-Bone Bonnard. Yeah. All right, the next one we're moving on. Next one is Mean Streak. Mean Streak Looking for Trouble. Mean Streak Looking for Trouble is a 1-drop, 1 required blue resource. He's a 0/1 Mean Streak Earth Clash card in the Alpha affiliation. He's a common rarity card with the ability Trigger Enter. Put 1 streak counter on this card. This card gets +1, +0 for each streak counter on it. So Mean Streak Looking for Trouble fits very well into the Mean Streak Ready to Brawl archetype. With this is a card that introduces streak counters into your cards. Okay. Yep. So Jim, what are you looking at when you see Mean Streak Looking for Trouble?
Now, worst case scenario, this card is a 1/1 for 1.
Yes.
I look at how high can this guy
get?
Mid to late stages when you're like, this guy's a 10/1 for 1 right off the top. Huge card potential this can be. But other than that, it has a really high ceiling an okay floor.
I don't know if it has a really high ceiling because again, it's still one defense.
If it doesn't get blocked, don't matter.
Can you tell Jim likes aggro, guys?
Doesn't get blocked, doesn't matter, guys.
but if it does get blocked, it is dead. It's
so that just
dead.
means the floor is a B tier, I think.
Really? All right. So if you're honestly. Continue.
So why I even want to say it, or why I want to say B tier, it feeds to the strategy that you're kind of looking for in the mean streak deck. So you're able to get a 1 streak counter out there.
Yeah.
Use the mean streak effect to just take it, and you can put it onto something else.
But you're not running this card in non-mean streak builds, I don't think.
Yes, you're not playing this at non-mean streak.
Right.
I'm looking at it of like.
You're playing
this in
streak.
mean
Yes,
streak
right,
list.
true.
So how decent is it there?
True.
I like it at just a solid card for mean streak.
Okay.
But you're not going to see this card anywhere else other than mean streak decks. So it is a D tier in terms of that.
Right. So
situational.
Yeah.
C.
Yeah. Because again, if you're not breaking him with mean streak ready to brawl, he's just a 1/1.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yep.
But he can be much better. Like he can be much better. So that being said, just straight C. Are we just going straight C? Are we gonna go C plus?
I can see C or C plus because he is situational and he is good in those situations.
Yeah, and again, I think I could definitely see C plus because again. He can get higher than 1/1.
Yeah.
Like he could if he gets 4/1, 5/1. I mean, if you think about it, a 5/1 for 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to work to get it there, but you still only really paid the 1 resource, right? So I think I could very much live with C plus for mean streak looking for trouble.
Cool card.
The next one, a really cool card, is Haven, Bountiful Collector. Haven, Bountiful Collector, a 2-drop, 1 required resource. She's a 1/2 Haven Earth Clash card in the Rogue affiliation. She's an epic rarity card with a couple abilities. The first ability is Trigger Enter. It says you may put 1 card from your hand into your resource zone engaged. Her second ability reads Trigger Defeat. Return target non-trap accessory from your Oblivion to your hand. And then you may only play 1 Haven Bountiful Collector per turn. They don't want you ramping more than 1 additional resource each turn. So Jim, what are you seeing when you see Haven Bountiful Collector here?
She's for 2 costs to be able to ramp is extremely good. Once you start getting more, it's like, okay, being able to ramp on like turn 4, turn 5 is still good, but in terms of your overall mana or your overall resource pool that you have, the percentage of it starts to drop in comparison.
Yes, true.
So overall, I really do like this card. It's going to enter and instantly give you some value as long as you utilize it. Most of the time you are.
Right.
And then if you are playing your non-trap accessories, which I'm sure you will be, this card will then also be able to get you them back in the later stages.
Yeah,
I like it.
And I think the other thing too is, in all honesty, I've played a lot of builds where I'm not even utilizing her Trigger Defeat.
Yeah,
it's just
you don't have to.
It's just I'm straight using her Trigger Enter get me that ramp early game. Because again, normally I'm trying to play aggressive builds. I'm trying to get in for as much damage, and for aggressive strategies, the ability to get in that much sooner with your higher cost cards can be extremely impactful. If I want to get in with Sonora Awaken Breaker on turn, the potential to get in a turn earlier with Sonora Awaken Breaker is, that can turn the tide of a game. He's an already extremely powerful card, but the ability to get him in a turn sooner, that's insane.
Play stuff faster, always good.
Yeah, exactly. But again, you can't do that outside of utilizing Haven, Haven Bountiful Collector. So, she's an extremely versatile card, right? You could utilize both. Both those abilities. I think she's super powerful. Where are you landing on a power level, Jim? Where are you landing at?
She's an extremely safe pick. Some would call her a safe haven of a card. So oh man, it is really good. I have to give it an A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going into S tier?
I don't know if I could go into S tier. Because think about it, you're losing a card from your hand, right? If it was take card from the bottom of your deck, boom, slap that onto the field.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
that's A tier. All right, I could also see S tier.
Okay. All right. Because now I'm trying to think in my mind, is this S tier or is this really just A tier? I think she's S. I think she's S tier because especially considering this is the only card in set 1 that has the potential to ramp.
Yeah.
So it's the only card that has potential to ramp. Okay. So, I mean, in a vacuum, yes, it's a powerful card. In a vacuum, is this S tier? I mean, it's easy A tier in a vacuum.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to want this at every single point in the game, which is why I'm giving it A.
True.
So early game, 100% S tier.
I think,
but it falls off.
I think overall, I think this is an A plus.
Yeah,
I
see A+.
I don't think I don't think this is S tier. It's always an S tier card, but I think an easy A plus.
Yeah.
So I think we can settle on A plus.
I like A plus.
All right, we'll settle on A plus for Haven Bountiful Collector, and then the next one we've got is T-Bone the Vindictive. Again, I love that. Man, he does not look happy in this card. This is T-Bone the Vindictive. T-Bone's a 2-drop, 1 required. He's a T-Bone Earth Clash card in the Alpha affiliation. He's a 1/2 stat line and has the ability Counter Play. The next time a Clash Ground would enter play, you may send this card to Oblivion to return that Clash Ground to its owner's hand. It does not enter play. All right, Jim, what do you think about T-Bone? He's also uncommon. T-Bone is an uncommon rarity card as well.
So this is all right. So it has to be out on the battlefield.
Yes.
In order for it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now we're looking at a 2-1 or a 1-2 for 2.
I believe so. I'm pretty sure T-Bone has to be on the field for this to take effect.
Yeah.
Right. So he's got to be on board. So you have to have paid the 2. So he's in your clash zone.
Yeah.
All right. So he was already on board, and then at that point, Clash Ground is in standby.
It's not like you play him at instant speed.
Right. Well, it wouldn't. Again, that trigger goes off.
Yeah.
You know, once that Clash Ground's in standby, then you have priority. Do you have any counterplays effects that you'd like to resolve?
Yeah.
So I believe T-Bone has to be on board for this effect to kick in.
All right. So let me reread this card again.
Sure.
The next time a Clash Ground would enter play, you may send this card to Oblivion to return that Clash Ground to its opponent or to its owner's hand.
Correct.
It does not enter play.
Yep.
Very situational. But again, it's just if you see this out on the field, you're more inclined to not play a Clash Ground until you kill this thing.
Right. So the way that I see this is I see this fitting into Magnate aggressive strategies, okay, where you're utilizing Magnate's buff, okay, you are trying to be as aggressive as you can, and you want to win by turn 4, turn 5, okay, and if you have your Clash Ground like New York City, let's say you have New York City out on board, and you want to protect yours, okay,
right,
so. And you utilize T-Bone, you utilize that counter play sort of as that protection to then you're going to be able to win next turn, because there might be times where if your Clash Ground sticks, you're winning next turn.
Yeah.
Okay. And so T-Bone gives you kind of that insurance policy, if you will, of protecting yours, because again, like if you have 5 alphas on board, that New York City, that just gives you 10 damage.
Huge, yeah.
That's huge. Right? So that's how I think you'd want to utilize T-Bone. I think T-Bone is a very much a meta call, okay? But maybe even not, because again, you're trying to you have your Clash Grounds in play for a reason, and you want to ensure that they stay on. And there's going to be times where, like, if your opponent plays another clash ground, it's like, it's fine. I have another one in my hand. But if you don't, you really need yours to stick. So that's how I think I'd use T-Bone, the Vindictive here.
Yeah, I could see that, especially if you do see this out on the field, you know you're playing against the Magnet deck, and you pretty much know what they're going to do. I guess you're going to try and blow this up or control the field because you don't want all those +2/+2s to be happening.
Right.
So yeah, and if you're trying to even drop an early game clash ground, it's going to be for the utility of drawing cards because you won't have a very established board.
Right.
So I guess. Yeah, he is offering that protection to the strategy you were just talking about.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So that's how I see that. But still, I think it's situational. I think it's a meta call. That being said, from a rating standpoint, I don't think I could give him higher than a C.
Yeah, I mean he's a situational card.
Yeah,
so
like I don't think I could give it to. I don't think I'd give him B. Again, if he was a 2/1. Okay, now that's very different. I mean, I think if he's a 2/1, I mean that's I think easy B plus. In all honesty, I think that's an easy B plus.
But essentially, being a 1/3 isn't as great.
Exactly.
But it does make sense because you already want him to be that defensive card. So you don't want him to die. You don't want him to die.
Yes.
So maybe it is better for him to be.
No. I think it is
2/2.
Correct. I agree with that. I do agree with that. But again, from the standpoint of I'm trying to be as aggressive as I can be, he himself is not aggressive.
Yeah.
So all that being said, I think I'd give the card a C.
Yeah. I like C.
Yeah.
Just seems very situational to me.
Yeah. I think it's a good effect, especially in metas, which there's going to be, Clash Grounds are going to be very prevalent. Clash Grounds are going to be prevalent, and they are very powerful cards as well. So we're going to give T-Bone the Vindictive a C. All right, next one we have is Mean Streak Newfound Powers. So Mean Streak Newfound Powers is a 2-drop, 1 required resource. He's a 0/2. He's a Mean Streak Earth Clash card. He's an uncommon rarity card in the Alpha affiliation. Has the ability trigger enter. Put two streak counters on this card. And then this card gets +1/+0 for each streak counter on it. So this is like an upgraded version of the other Mean Streak. Is Mean Streak looking for trouble? So that being said, what's your take on Mean Streak Newfound Powers?
These cards can be extremely fun to be playing around with. So for me, I'm like the ceiling S tier plus, right? But is it really that?
Right.
You know, best case scenario or worst case scenario, you are looking at a 2/2 for 2. So again, just the vanilla, but you're also getting these streak counters that you can be utilizing with your other cards for Mean Streak.
Yeah, and you can be moving them around with Mean Streak ready to brawl.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's very basic of a card. For Mean Streaks, for Mean Streak decks, I see B tier, nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You're playing it in Mean Streak decks. For everything else, this is just not that great of a card.
But still, it is a 2/2 for 2.
Yeah,
it's a 2/2 for 2. So that being said, like it's not inherently worse than other cards, right?
It's just a vanilla,
right? It's a vanilla 2/2 that. If you're building you got to be building your deck around utilizing those streak counters. So that being said, where would you land on a rating?
Just a pure vanilla card. It's not a situational card. It's not a bad card. I give it a B. I can see B minus just because it is just a very basic card.
Yeah, I think I could settle on B. I think I could settle on B because again, ceiling is going to be a lot higher if you're getting ways to utilize those streak counters. So, and again, if you're playing blue, if you're playing Mean Streak cards, you're most likely building your deck in that way as well. Yeah. So that's what we're going to land on for Mean Streak Newfound Powers. The next Mean Streak card is Mean Streak Intercepting. Mean Streak Intercepting, 3-drop, 2 required resources of blue. He is a 3/3 Mean Streak Earth Clash card. He's a rare card in the Alpha affiliation. He's got a couple abilities. The first being Interception. Interception, this card can obstruct clash cards with flight. He has Trigger Enter, put 1 streak counter on this card. And then he says, once per turn during your primary phase, you may pay 2 blue resources. If you do, put a streak counter on target clash card you control, then draw a card. All right, Jim, what do you think about Mean Streak Intercepting?
Dude,
here?
I kind of really like this card.
I really like this card too, man.
Being able to obstruct flight, really
Yes.
good. It's the vanilla test of basic 3/3 for 3, but then you're also able to put more resources into it, draw you a card, and get exactly what it is you're looking for inside this deck of the streak counters. Man, this is I do really like this card. I could see high B, low A, but if we're talking about in terms of the Mean Streak deck,
This is a very good card in Mean Streak builds.
Yeah, Mean Streak. Oh man,
That's the thing. Like in Mean
I can even
Streak,
see S
I
tier
could.
for
Like, that's the
Mean
thing. In Mean Streak builds, this is going to give you so much value.
So much.
3/3 for 3, Interception, gets a streak counter on this card. Now he does not get a buff on this printed card itself. Okay, but you are running other cards that give you that buff. Okay, and then, I mean, on top of it, you can pay more resources to put another streak counter, not on this card, but on any clash card you control. And then you draw a card.
Yep.
Ah, dude.
2 cost.
It's so good.
Essentially 2 cost, draw a card, and then do more stuff you like.
But for three resources.
I know. Extremely good
This is
card.
so good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mean Streak S tier. Mean Streak deck S tier.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I think. Oh man.
Actually, I think regardless, this is
still A.
yeah.
This is still A
standalone.
tier.
Even if you're not doing anything with the streak counters, to be able to have that 2 cost, just draw an additional card, extremely powerful. So yeah, I think I have to give this A+ S tier.
I would agree A+.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy A+.
Yeah.
Because again, you're not just drawing one card. You can use this as drawing multiple times if you have the resources.
Once per turn.
But still, multiple turns.
Oh yeah, multiple turns.
Multiple turns. So if you play this on turn 5, ETB, I'm gonna. Okay, so if you play this on turn 5, ETB, it's a 3/3, gets a streak counter. You can pay 2 more. Get another streak counter, which again you're utilizing. You're because you're playing Mean Streak.
Yeah.
Right. And then drawing another card on top of it.
And if we look at the tempo plays, you can do the curve. You have your 1 drop that makes the streak counter. You have your 2 drop, and then that thing becomes a 2/2. Then you take this Mean Streak. It puts the counter on this card. You then can in future turns be able to draw and then put the streak on it. But then you can utilize your Mean Streak contender to take whatever streaks you want from your previous cards, put it onto your 2. So now you have a 3 attack inbound as well. There's a lot of synergy you could do with tempoing out, especially in Mean Streak. This card is amazing.
Agreed. I think honestly this is an easy A+.
Yeah.
Easy A+, just all around. Easy A+ for Mean Streak Intercepting. We're gonna stay on the Mean Streak train.
I guess we're on a streak. Huh?
We are on a Mean Streak, right? And this is Mean Streak Blink of an Eye. So Mean Streak Blink of an Eye is a 4-drop. So 4 cost, 2 required resources. He's a 3/2 Mean Streak Earth Clash card, Alpha affiliation, and this is an epic rarity card. He's got quite a few things on this bad boy. He's got super speed. Again, if you're coming from Magic, this is first strike. This card deals clash damage before clash cards without super speed. And then you may play this card without paying its resource cost by sending 1 T-Bone and 1 Mean Streak Clash card from your Clash zone to Oblivion.
Yeah.
When this card defeats another Clash card, you may put 1 streak counter on it. If this card has 1 or more streak counters, it gets +1/+1. 3 or more streak counters, it gets Breakthrough. 5 or more streak counters, Clash cards you control, get +2/+2. 10 or more streak counters, it gets +5/+5. So this is the first card that we're seeing that actively cares about how many streak counters are on this card.
Yeah.
All right, Jim. What do you think? What do you think about Mean Streak Blink of an Eye here?
This guy is it seems very powerful. Oh man, especially with that 10 or more streak counters. But I always want to assume you're not going to be able to have that 10 or more streak counters.
Okay.
I would like to aim around, okay, if I can have a consistent 3 on this guy throughout the course of a game, how good is he? To get the breakthrough, which is trample, correct?
Yes.
And then +1/+1. So he can easily be a 4/3 for 4 or even free. You can be extremely aggressive with this card of being like, all right, I'm going to attack with a low drop T-Bone. I'm going to attack with the low drop Mean Streak, and then be able to come in on turn 2 with this guy. That alone seems extremely powerful. For Mean Streak, I have to give him easy A.
Yeah, I think I do think he's easy A. I mean, how do you think this card stacks up with the other one, with Mean Streak Intercepting, the one that we just talked about?
Oh man, I think overall Intercepting is a better card.
Okay.
This one doesn't really provide that utility that the other one can be giving you, but
Okay.
this one is a very aggressive card. So, but it doesn't really jump out to me as being better than Intercepting.
Right, because this one now you can play Mean Streak Blink of an Eye for free. Okay, now it's a self 2 for 1, right? Because you have to get rid of a T-Bone and another Mean Streak card. Okay, which at that point you've probably already used them for what you needed them for. Okay. So if you're playing this for free, this is just an insanely good value card, okay? Now you want to be using this card as a removal tool.
Yeah.
Like you want to be using it as a
super
removal
speed's
tool.
amazing.
Right, because this is the card where you're going to want to be putting all of your streak counters, right? So this is your means to your end game, right? And this is it. I mean, you could build your deck around this card solely, but then if this card's gone, what do you do, right? Then, so from that standpoint, like you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but this is still a very, very powerful basket.
It is a very high ceiling.
Yes.
Especially since you're able to buff your other Clash cards on the 5.
Yes.
5+.
All of your Clash cards.
And yeah, it's kind of like you're 2 for 1ing yourself with, if you get rid of the T-Bone and the Mean Streak, or your 1-drops, but you can still get value from them. Right. You can still be like, oh, I'm going to attack into your stuff, and then, or go face with it, and then you can get rid of them, bring this guy out, have the super speed, get rid of something else if they even have creatures out on board, Clash cards out on board, or again, you can just send 3 more face as well. Very aggressive, but it's also a defensive card that just wins you the game. Once you get to those really high streak counters. Right,
yeah. So all that being said, where would you land on a rating for this? I mean, we gave Intercepting an A+, which I think is correct. I 100% think that's correct.
Yeah.
Where do you land on Blink of an Eye?
I can see. I think it's a pretty solid card. I see B. It's not situational. Well, if you don't have T-Bone or Mean Streak, it's never going to be free.
Right.
So, I like a B+ or low A.
I was gonna say the same. I think this is. I mean, I think it's in A tier. I think it's in A tier because this just can give you so much value.
Just wins the game pretty much, yeah.
But I think A- is actually the correct line of where to keep it. I think A- is correct for Mean Streak Blink of an Eye. It's just not. It's not. I don't think it's on the same level as Intercepting. It's just not.
No.
But it's still, like you said, this has a potential to win you the game.
No.
I really think this definitely does. So all that being said, we're going to give Mean Streak Blink of an Eye an A-. All right, the next card we have is another T-Bone card. This is T-Bone Powers Unlocked. T-Bone Powers Unlocked is a 4-drop. 2 of those are required blue resources. So T-Bone is a 5/4 T-Bone Earth Clash card in the Alpha affiliation. He's an uncommon card, and that's it. He's a vanilla 5/4 for 4. Jim, what do you think about T-Bone here, man?
He's a 5/4 for 4, big buff dude. I mean, he's better than just the standard vanilla card with 4/4 for 4.
Because this could be a 5/5.
Yeah,
this could be a 5/5 for 4.
Yeah. You know, I think he's a solid card. He's not a situational thing. He's just better in given situations.
Right.
So I'm gonna say B. He's just very basic.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I mean, I could go to a B+ because again, this could be a 5/5.
Yeah.
Like he's got the potential to be a 5/5. And honestly, are you playing this strictly just in Magnate decks? No, you're not. This can go in pretty much any deck.
Yeah.
But the potential for this to be a 5/5 for only 4, you could be like, you could be using that one resource for any number of effects. So that being said, I mean, do I bring this up to a B+? Honestly, I think I have to. Because there are other things that are just straight 4/4s,
Yep.
which it could be 4/5s. So I think I got to give T-Bone Powers Unlocked a B+. What do you think? Could you get there?
Yeah, I could see it, to just be able to have that 5 damage on turn 4. Or even turn 3 if you have a Haven.
Yeah.
This card is a big dude.
Yeah.
I can see a B+.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna stick with a B+ for T-Bone Powers Unlocked. And I mean, he's almost like the Hulk, man. He kind of looks like the Hulk here. So yeah, so we're gonna give T-Bone Powers Unlocked that B+. And then we're going to move on to a 5-drop. So we got Plasmax. Plasmax, a 5-drop. 2 of those are required blue resources. Plasmax is a 4/4 Plasmax Earth Clash card in the Alpha affiliation. He is a rare card and has the flight keyword, so he can fly. And he has that trigger defeat ability, ready up to 2 cards in your resource zone. Jim, what do you think about a card like Plasmax?
Wow. So he's pretty much a 4/4 for 3. I mean, sure, you have to be on that 5th resource cost. But after he enters and you get to restand some of your resource, then you can play a Haven.
Hang on, it's not trigger enter. It trigger
defeat.
defeat.
It's defeat. Okay, sorry.
Trigger defeat.
All right, yeah. Defeat. Instantly less good.
Yes, instantly worse. Yes.
But it's all right. So. Man, you don't want this guy to really die in your opponent's turn, unless you have some way to be playing instant. I just think he's an okay card.
I think the way you're utilizing this is, again, I think you're utilizing Plasmax aggressively, right?
Yeah.
With that flight, okay, you're flying over all your opponent's stuff, right? And then so with that trigger defeat, it decentivizes your opponent from blocking. So now your opponent has to make a decision. Do I give them 2 additional resources to utilize now, or do I take the 4 damage? Okay. Yeah. So, and you're most likely going to be utilizing this in the late game, I think, right? Yeah. And so at that point, it's like, okay, what else now can I put on board? Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, a 4/4 flyer for 5 is not great value, but it's still a 4/4 flyer. Okay. Yeah. And that is definitely worth something. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that trigger defeat. Okay. You also want to have ways in your deck to where I'm able to utilize those resources on my opponent's turn. Yeah, I want to have traps out. I want to have quick actions that I'm able to do something with. So there's ways to play around that trigger defeat ability from your opponent. Like, they can play around that pretty easily. Yeah. So all that being said, I don't think Plasmax is an amazing card. I mean, if I had to rate him, I mean, from a rating standpoint, I'd probably rate Plasmax, honestly, like a B-. Yeah. I'd probably give him a B- because again, it's a 4/4 flyer. It's great. Like, that's good. But I don't know. He's just he could be better, and I don't know. That's right. I'd land on that B minus. What do you think?
Yeah, once you're talking about like have ways to play at instant speed on either your opponent's turn. So if they attack into him on their turn, then you get back those resources on their turn.
Right.
So you have to be able to utilize them. Otherwise, the effect just goes to waste.
Right.
So yeah, he's not a situational card.
Right.
He's just an less than really just a solid card because you're giving your opponent that option of when am I going to get this effect?
Right.
And that you don't really want to be doing.
Right. Right.
So I like a B minus.
Yeah, because again,
Still a 4/4 flyer.
Exactly. That flight is not something you to scoff at.
Yep.
Like it means something. It 100% means something. So that's Plasmax. We're giving that B minus to Plasmax, and then we're gonna move on to Mean Streak Unique Speedster. Ooh. So Mean Streak Unique Speedster, a 5-cost, 3 required resources. He's a 2/4 Mean Streak Earth Clash card. In the Alpha affiliation, he's an uncommon rarity card, and he has Interception, he has Super Speed, and then this card gets +1/+0 for each streak counter on it. So on theme with pretty much all the other Mean Streak cards that we've seen so far, but with this one, you're really just looking at those keywords. So Jim, what do you think about Unique Speedster?
So he doesn't have that enter effect of put 2 streak counters onto him.
Yep.
You know, I'm less excited about this one than I am the previous ones.
Same.
But that super speed is still really good.
That is still good. Yeah.
And he has interception, so he is also stopping the flyers.
Yeah.
And you can always utilize the mean streak ability to take mean streak or streak counters from your other cards.
Correct.
Put it on him, so you can make him bigger.
Correct.
Which at that point, that higher attack with first strike, very deadly.
Right.
Very deadly, and your opponent is really going to have to play around him, and it's going to be very difficult. But there's so many other things you have to have done.
Yeah, there's so many variables.
Great.
There's so many variables here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in a mean streak deck, I just see him being okay. I could see a B+ because of the keywords are just really good, but you have to have other stuff to make him really good. So I would say a B+.
Yeah, honestly, I was gonna just stay right at a B. I was thinking about C, but I think B+ is too high because again, you got to have all those things in place.
Yeah,
like you got to build up to him. Yeah. I mean, yes, interception's great, super speed's great, but he himself can't give you anything.
Yeah.
I mean, 2/4 with those stats.
2/4 super speed's not amazing.
Exactly. 2/4 super speed is nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're talking about 1-drops and 2-drops, right? But again, if your opponent is playing, like let's say your opponent has Sonoro, a 2/1, or T-Bone, a 2/1. So those are 2/2s. But now they have New York City. They're now 4/2s. He can still, like, this takes care of those still. So that's definitely, like, he can take care of it.
But he's
right?
still a 5-drop.
Exactly, he's still a 5-drop. But at that point, your opponent has already put in 3 resources for New York City.
Yeah.
And then they've put in their whatever resources for their Clash cards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he can only block 1, but.
And then you get into the argument of going wide versus big.
Correct.
He's a lot of mana, but he's not very big.
Correct. He's not big at all.
So
in order to get him big, you got to put in more resources outside of it.
I can see it dropping a little bit. I guess I was initially putting too much emphasis on the super speed, and then just making him bigger, which can easily get to a B+, and even higher.
I agree.
But I could see a lower B.
Yeah. So I just think straight B is where Mean Streak Unique Speedster is going to sit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mean Streak Unique Speedster, we're leaving him right at that B tier. All right, next one. This card is interesting. I like this one. We've got Apex Vortex Slinger. So Apex Vortex Slinger, a 6-drop, 6-cost, 3 required resources. He's a 6/4 Apex Earth Clash card in the Alpha affiliation. He's a rare card. 2 abilities. The first being Flight, which is key, Flight, and then Counterattack. After an opponent declares an attack, you may engage this card. If you do, negate that attack. All right, so Jim, what do you think of Apex Vortex Slinger here? What's your read on this?
I kind of love this card.
Okay.
This is a big attacker with flight, so you can utilize them for that offensive role. But then if you don't want to, just being able to stop your opponent's attack is huge. Just normally you would set up a blocker, but you just engage this card, stop the attack. And yeah, I'm a big fan of him. But he's also 6 cost.
Yeah, he's 6.
6 cost, and does he do enough at 6 cost? And I don't think he does.
Now, your opponent can play. Can your opponent play around this? The only way they can play around is by having more things on board, right?
Have like 2 of that thing you're afraid of.
Right.
So.
But then the onus is on you, the Apex player, to decide: do I block?
Yeah.
Do I block this card here, or do I wait and then just negate that other attack?
Yeah.
And then that counterattack is just weird. I think it's very weird because I think if you only have Apex on board, it's bad. It's just bad because you're in a bad predicament. You can't get ahead on board. You cannot get ahead on board at all. Yeah. It's clearly a defensive ability. For sure, but you're not ahead. He's not getting you ahead on board, right? No.
So he's just stalling a game out to where hopefully you're going to be able to do
correct.
something.
He stalls it out, gives you a turn, maybe. Gives you a turn, maybe 2 turns until you drop Kagan or you drop some other big bomb that's going to win you the game. So that being said, this card is not winning you the game. This is maybe getting you that 1 additional turn or 2 additional turns you need to take over and win the game. Yeah. So I like the flavor on the counterattack. I like the ability itself. It's weird.
I just love that effect.
It's just it puts you in a weird position on board. It puts you in a weird position in your board state. So that's the only way that I view it. But I think it's still a very powerful defensive ability for sure. So putting that on board, okay, what are you going to do, opponent? I'm not swinging with it. I'm keeping it up. What are you going to do? Okay, because now that then I think puts you then in the driver's seat of your opponent now has to respect, what do I do? Because now if they go to attack, they are now vulnerable. They are putting their clash card in a vulnerable position. Sure, I am as well, right, by engaging Apex, but now you have just made your most important thing vulnerable as well. So it creates interesting decisions, I think. So that being said, do you see anything else here, or kind of what's your read?
He's a very straightforward card. There's nothing really hidden about it.
Right.
You just throw it out there. Maybe you're gonna engage him to stop an attack.
Right.
Maybe you're not.
Right.
He's not. It's weird because he's a situational card, but he's also not, because that situation is always occurring.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty much innate in every single game.
Correct.
So he's
inevitable.
Yeah. Is he snapping his fingers right now?
That is an inevitable position to be in every game. It really is.
Yeah.
So that being said, where would you land on a rating for Apex here?
I would give him around, for sure in B tier. I see B minus. It's just one of those effects that will be cool when you can utilize it, but he's also a 6'4" flyer.
Yep.
So if you need to get in that big attack, he can do it. So yeah, I'd give him B minus.
Yeah, I was gonna say B minus. I think it is, like you said, it's a situational effect, but it's not, because it happens every game, right? So it's a lot
almost every turn.
Yeah, right. It's a big boy's a flyer. So I think it's an easy B minus. Do I think it gets up to a B? I don't even know if it's a solid. I don't know if it.
I would.
This, honestly, you could fit this in any blue deck. I think in any card, any deck that's running blue, you could fit this in.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
So that being said, I could see it being a B.
I do kind of wish his attack and defense were flipped, because when you're looking to have an ability that is kind of defensive,
yes.
I want you to be around.
Right.
Because if you tap this to stop an attack, well, what's to stop them from attacking you with another card?
Correct.
So it's like you swing in with your big thing that they have to stop, and you're like, all right, well, I also have this other card. I'm going to turn into a 4 attack, and now I'm going to kill your card.
Right.
So,
I think this is dying to pretty much everything for the most part.
It dies to a lot.
Dies to a lot. It'll take it with them, but still. Yeah, I see that. So
I can see a solid B.
Yeah, I think a solid B is correct for Apex, Vortex, Slinger, and then the last Clash card we have is the promo, the AXO Mean Streak Finishing Blow. So Mean Streak Finishing Blow is a 7-drop. 7 cost, 4 required resources. He's a 5/5 Mean Streak Earth Clash card in the Alpha affiliation. He's that AXO rare card. So this card is in the Clash kits. He is packaged with the Moxies in the back of the Moxie deck. All right. So Mean Streak Finishing Blow is he has exclusive. So only 1 copy of this card can be in your control. It's like the legendary rule in Magic. Okay. He has trigger enter. Put 1 streak counter on each Clash card you control, then ready all Clash cards you control with an initial resource cost of 3 or less. Trigger attack. Choose 1, draw a card, target opponent discards a card. Jim.
Wow.
What do you think of this? This is almost like this is Mean Streak's finishing blow, right? This is last.
This seems like his final form.
Yeah. What do you think here, man?
This card has a lot of stuff I really like on it, especially that attack draw card.
And that trigger enter, dude.
And that trigger enter is
goodness.
huge. Put on every single thing you have. Wow.
Well, ready all Clash cards you control with.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness. Put 1 streak counter on each Clash card you control, including Mean Streak itself.
Yeah.
Then ready all Clash cards you control with an initial resource cost of 3 or less. So you can use this defensively or offensive. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, this card is amazing, it seems, for Mean Streak decks. Do I see it being utilized for anything else other than Mean Streak? No, not really. It's a one-of that you can only have in the...
No, it's not. It's not unrivaled.
It's not unrivaled.
It's exclusive.
It's exclusive. A legendary rule.
Yes, legendary rule.
Okay. All right. I thought it... Yeah, I was thinking unrivaled.
No.
Man. I was thinking unrivaled. Okay.
This is that much better.
Yes. So, this card's kind of good. But for some reason, for it being 7 cost, it doesn't extremely wow me, because it's kind of working for your 3 drops and lower get to restand and put your streak counters on them. So to me it's like you kind of want to be aggro and having a lot of low drop stuff to really utilize it, but it's also a 7 cost card.
The way that I see this is I see pairing this up with a card like Sonoro, the Awakened Breaker. Okay. Another card that cares about low drops. Okay.
Oh, right.
And so I see this in Mean Streak builds, but Mean Streak builds that are aggressive and low to the ground. And so you're gonna utilize this as like your finisher, as one
like a finishing blow.
Yes, correct. Like that's how I would build.
Yeah.
That's how I'd build this card.
Yeah.
Right. Just giving me another card in hand, and then making me able to just swing in for that much more damage.
Yeah.
Maybe I've already used a Clash card and that card's still around.
Yeah.
Like that's how I would see utilizing a card like Finishing Blow. Because again, if it got, I mean, hopefully I'm bringing this out on turn 6 because I've already used a Haven Bountiful Collector.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I would build with this card, and just looking at it, and because I also like Sonoro, the Awakened Breaker, but like that's kind of how I see it as well. So that's what I think.
Yeah, it has some really good stuff, for sure. It's just 7 mana is a lot.
I know.
It throws me off.
I know.
A lot.
I know.
Especially in terms of really identifying where I would place a card.
Yeah.
Once you get that high, it just starts to be like, oh, you don't just instantly win me the game and or put me ridiculously far ahead, then I'm like, all right, well, and you're a 5/5. I really don't know how to judge this card.
Yeah, so I'm running this in either. No, I'm not. I'm only running this in mean streak builds because, again, I want to. Well, maybe not because
maybe not
because I don't even necessarily need the streak counters because, again, I'm readying everything.
Exactly.
I mean, I could very well be running this in Magnate.
Yeah.
If I'm running this in Magnate now, 5/6, and then Magnate's already giving me that defensive buff
and draw you a card
and drawing, dude. Oh man. I'm liking this card more, but again, I think I'm only running this in aggressive type strategies.
And that's,
I think,
and that's the part that really throws me off because coming from other games, if you're playing aggressive, you're not playing a 7-drop card. Like that's just unheard of.
Yeah, except it's just in this game, like you're
different.
going to be getting there most likely.
Yeah.
Now, again, I think I mean, I've played games where like it was a slog getting to Kagan, right? And it was still an aggressive deck, right? So, man, and it's four blue. You need 4 blue resources. Like this is 4 blue required. So, I don't know. So from a rating standpoint, I mean, it's an easy B plus. I think it's an A minus. I think it's an A minus. I want to give this higher. I want to give it higher because, again, potential to draw cards every turn on attack, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I think I would settle on A minus.
Yeah, I don't think I'd give it anything more than an A minus.
Yeah.
It just doesn't extremely wow me.
Yeah, 5/5 for 7. Like if you look at it from like that, it's like, ooh, 5/5 for 7. What am I missing out on?
Yeah.
I mean, you're missing out on a lot stat wise, but you're drawing a card or your opponent's discarding a card.
Yeah.
So
you can get a lot of value.
You can
from
get
it.
a lot of value. There's a lot of value potentially.
With the restanding, but yeah, this card as a whole throws me off, and until I can really see it being utilized, I can't go higher than an A minus because I know it's still providing you a lot of good stuff, but 7's a lot, and you have to have a lot of other stuff on the board in order for you to even really be able to utilize it.
Right. I mean, at its worst, it gets a streak counter, and then it attacks and draws you a card.
Yeah. For
7. So
7
that's
attack,
like
5 damage.
Yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, so you would be okay with an A minus?
I can see A minus if you have like a couple creatures out on board. Otherwise, purely itself, I don't see it being. I could see a B plus.
I think in a vacuum, yes. I think it's got a lot higher of a ceiling. So I think overall I could settle on an A minus.
And again, you could also utilize this in other decks. It's not
correct.
just a mean streak deck. So I can see A minus.
Correct. So yeah. So we're gonna land on that A minus for mean streak finishing blow. So that's the last of the clash cards, and then now let's move on. Let's move on to those actions. All right, the first action we're going to talk about, it's a clash buff, right? So again,
they're all S tier.
S tier, it's streaks inbound. So the blue clash buff is streaks inbound. If you guys have not seen our other videos yet, we're given all of the clash buffs. They're all S tier. It's the same card for each color, and then so for blue, it streaks inbound, 0 cost. Says you may only play this card if your contender is a blue alpha. Says target contender or clash card you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Then you may draw a card. I mean, these are just insanely powerful cards. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, there's a reason you can only play 4 in your deck. So yeah, that streaks inbound, a great card. And on all honesty, and I think I've said this before, but I love the clash buff mechanic in this game. It's very, very cool. Introduces a very interesting line and play pattern. Yes, it's a play pattern, but also, do you have it? Does my opponent have it? And you every turn, every clash, you have to evaluate, do I think they have a clash buff? And there's times where I was planning on attack with 5 things. I'm not attacking anymore because now they have that buff for the rest of the turn. So yeah, so that's streaks inbound. All right, the next one we've got, it is Lefty on the Way. So Lefty on the Way is a 1 cost basic action, 1 required blue resource. It says put 1 streak counter on target clash card you control. Pretty basic. Jim, what do you think about Lefty on the Way?
Basic, plays to the strategy of mean streak as a whole. So in that, it's not an amazing, or it's a good card, not an amazing card. 1 cost, yeah, just put a streak on something. I would just give it a.
Are you going to give it a higher than a C?
I honestly, in mean streak, it's just a B or B minus card.
Correct.
Anything else, it's just. It does literally nothing else for you. I'd give it a D. if you're playing anything else, it does nothing.
So we'll split it down the middle. It's a C.
It's a C card.
Right, I think it is. Yeah, like it does.
C minus.
Like you have to have something. You have to have something on your board that cares about streak counter, because it's specifically a streak counter. So you have to have something that cares about it. And if you're not running the mean streak contender, what is it? Like you have to be running a mean streak card. So that being said, I think C is kind of right where it's at. So speaking of, the next one that we have is Shugaboo and Haven. Shugaboo and Haven is a 2 cost basic action, 1 required blue resource. It says put up to 2 streak counters on target clash card you control. If you put those streak counters on a Haven clash card, that card gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
Yep.
So a little more versatile than Lefty on the Way, but again, cares about streak counters, but doesn't necessarily. The card that you choose doesn't have to care about streak counters. It could just be Haven.
Yeah.
So that being said, what do you think of Shugaboo and Haven? Oh, this is also rare. This is a rare card as well. So what do you think about this card, Jim?
Well, it's instantly better than the previous one.
Correct.
Because if it's on Haven, then you get a +2/+2. But it's still a situational card.
It is.
But it's better. So I would give it C+.
I was gonna say C+.
Yeah.
Because again,
it is a steroid. So
yeah, it's the streak counters. Oh wait, now you care about if it's Haven, and there are other Haven. There are a few other Haven cards out there as well. So and it costs 2. So I mean, you think about a 2/2 for 2. I mean, that's B. Like that's straight B value. Okay, that's what we'd expect. But again, you have to have something on board that effectively cares about it. So you're not running. You are either running mean streak or something that cares about streak counters, or you're running Haven. So you got to fall within there. So I think C+. C+ is probably right where it's at. For
and if we look at a 2/2 for 2 is a B, and that last card was a C-, right in the middle is a C+.
So that's Shugaboo and Haven. And then the next card that we've got, it's a Streaks Engage. So Streaks Engage is a 2 cost basic action, 1 required blue resource, is an uncommon card, and says put 1 streak counter on each of up to 2 target clash cards you control. So again, the same type of thing. Where is this gonna fall, Jim?
So this is
I know it's like
pretty much
thing.
Exactly what we just talked about. This is a C- card.
Yeah, the only difference here is you're getting 1 counter, 1 streak counter on each of up to 2 clash cards. So you've got 2 clash cards here. I mean, I don't think any of these stray outside of the C tier.
Yeah, although I do think it's worse than being able to put 2 streak counters on 1 card, because now if you don't have those 2 cards, now it's 2 cost, 1 streak counter.
1 streak counter, yeah.
So I could even see a D+, because it's less.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think C- is probably correct for that, because again, all of these you're only running them in builds that care about streak counters. So you're most likely running these in mean streak builds. Except this last card. This is Lefty's Last Stand. Lefty, I love this card. Lefty's Last Stand. I love the artwork as well. Lefty's Last Stand is a 2 cost quick action. In blue, 1 required resource. This is an uncommon card and says counterattack. Prevent all clash damage that would be dealt by target attacking clash card during this clash. Jim, what do you think about Lefty's Last Stand?
So this card is what we like to call in the card game community a staple. You are going to be playing this thing if you're playing blue, even a splash of blue, because it just costs that one specific blue cost.
Yeah, right.
Right. This card is phenomenal. It will get you out of a very tight situation and give you pretty much that one extra. It's not one extra turn, but it can be that one extra turn. So this is an extremely good card. I'm giving it lowest an A. Lowest an A.
I would agree. So the way I look at this card, when we reviewed the black cards, there's a card in there, Surprise. I do not like that card. That was the card. It's a 3 cost. I don't know if it was a trap or quick action, but send target clash card to oblivion after this clash.
Oh goodness!
You remember that card?
Yeah,
right?
That card was bad.
I did not like that card at all.
No.
Okay. This card, I love this card so much better. Does it do anything with the clash card? No, like it doesn't. It is not removal. Surprise
leaves it engaged.
Surprise is removal. Yes.
Yeah.
But I just do not like that. I don't like the effect on it. Is it removal? Sure, it's removal. I will give you that.
Bad removal.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
But damn, life's a resource, right?
True. I like Lefty's Last Stand is only 2. Okay.
Yeah.
There's going to be times where I've been caught off guard many times by Lefty's Last Stand. And now, like you just said, my card is now engaged.
Yeah.
Okay. My opponent decides not to obstruct. We go to counterattack. Lefty's Last. Oh, shoot. Now my guard is down. And now my opponent can come in and attack my stuff. And then he is now ready for that next turn. Because again, most of the time in blue strategies, again, you're probably looking toward that late game.
Yep.
You are waiting until you have an opening to, all right, now here's my opening. I've got, maybe it's Mean Streak Finishing Blow.
Yep.
Maybe it's whatever your late game card is. It's here's my game card that wins me the game.
Yep.
Okay. And Lefty's Last Stand lets you get there.
Yeah.
So very, very much. As far as a rating, I think A is the floor. Honestly, I would give this an A+. I don't know if this is S tier. I would definitely give it an A+.
Yeah. I don't know if I could put it in S tier. If it was pretty much end the turn, like stopped all of the clash damage, but it's just specifically for that one card.
Correct.
I think A is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
If it was AoE effect, it's up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I again, after reading it again, I think I would just stay at A, maybe not A+.
Yeah.
Because again, it is just target. It's target attacking clash card.
Yeah.
I mean, does that really matter sometimes? Maybe not.
And it is specifically during this clash.
Correct.
If it was until end of turn.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, it is specifically that clash. So yeah, I think easy A. Yeah. I would settle on A, maybe not A+. I think I'd settle on A.
Yeah, I like A.
Yeah, so that's A for Lefty's Last Stand. All right, and now we are moving on to the accessories. We've got some pretty good accessories in blue. We've got, I believe, 4 traps. Do I have that right? Yep, 4 traps for blue. And the first one we have is Streak Absorbing Blow. So Streak Absorbing Blow is a 1-cost trap accessory. It's a common card, 1 required blue resource. And it says counterattack. Target attacking clash card gets -2, -1 until end of turn. Jim, what do you think about a card like Streak Absorbing Blow?
This is a very good card in the early stages and a decent card mid to late as well. Get rid of 2 attack, and then this card could even destroy the attacking card.
It could, yeah.
If you put the defense to 0, it's out.
One thing I really like about this is packaging up cards like this with non-clash damage.
Yeah.
So with ping effects in red, I mean, again, at that point, you'd have to be utilizing quick actions if you're able to do that. Yeah, because again, read the card, guys, because this specifically states counterattack target attacking clash card. So if you are targeting your opponent's stuff, this is going to be on your opponent's turn. So just things to keep in mind. You got make sure you're reading the card fully. Okay, so that being said, where would you land on a rating for Streak Absorbing Blow?
Ooh, all right. So this is a very situational card, you know. With them having to attack with a clash card, it is very difficult to find. I like having this around. I could see A-, B+. I think it's you know, depending on the meta, right? Like, if you know your opponent's playing a lot of smaller things, I see this card being extremely good. But yeah, I like around a B+.
It's even good even when your opponent's playing their higher costed stuff,
and
because
be able to trade or anything.
Being able to trade, or just even maybe keeping your stuff alive, because now you're just getting rid of two attack. So
it's kind of just good all over the place.
So I think
an A-.
Yeah, I mean, solid B. It's definitely a solid B. I mean, for one cost, I could go up to A-. I could go up to A-
That was the big part. It's one.
Yeah,
cost.
it's one. It's one. Yeah, this is a really good all around card. That's useful pretty much every turn of the game.
Yeah,
it's going to be useful for you pretty much everywhere you go. And then if you're able to get it back somehow, with like Haven Bountiful Collector, that was non-trap accessory. But if you're able to get back a trap somehow, it's even better, right?
One day.
Who would have thunk?
One day.
Yeah, right. All right, so that's Streak Absorbing Blow. Next one we've got is T-Bone's Shockwave. All right, this is interesting. So T-Bone Shockwave, a 2-drop, 2 costs, 1 required resource. A trap accessory is a common card with the ability Counterplay. You may activate this trap if the clash card being played has an initial resource cost of 4 or more. That card enters play engaged. So enters play engaged. What do you think about T-Bone's Shockwave here, Jim?
All right, so at first, I thought you were going to say that card is sent to Oblivion. Card would have been pretty good.
This card would have been busted.
Yeah.
That would have been busted.
Yeah, that would have been great to see.
That would have been busted, yes.
But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this card. Sure, it'll be nice if their card does become engaged, and then you're able to get around it. But I feel like you're going to want, if you're playing this, you're already going to want to be playing aggressive. So you're going to be using up all of your resources. So to have 2 on your opponent's turn at around the turn 4, turn 5 marker, I think you're just better off doing better things.
See, I don't know if you're using this in an aggressive deck. The way that I think about this card is I'm using it in a control heavy strategy where I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to survive until I can stabilize. That's where I see this, because the way that I'm seeing it, right, is my opponent drops their big thing, they're going to swing in to kill me. No, you're not, because you're going to enter engage. Now you can't attack. So that's the only way that I see this. Or maybe it's Sonora Awaken Breaker where they have an on-attack trigger type thing. So it's letting me survive another turn. It's just one turn, right? It's just letting me survive one turn until I'm able to do something else. That's it. Because the other thing too, if you think about, right, is there's going to be situations where your opponent is being aggressive, okay, and you have to figure out, do I block, okay, and then you have your clash cards on board. Okay, I block here. Okay, I have one other ready clash card. Okay, I block here. Now my opponent has something where I don't have a blocker up for it, so I can't do anything about it. Now I drop T-Bone Shockwave to then, okay, now you enter engage and you can't attack. So you can think of it as another blocker for 2. Just but again, it just lets you survive another turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
It's still pretty situational, I think. That being said, I don't think this goes above C.
Yeah,
I don't think it goes above
doesn't.
C. I don't even think it gets C plus because
even the best case scenario for me seeing is like if you are going aggressive and they play something that is kind of going to be able to slow you down and you're just like, it's not going to actually do anything because now it's engaged. You're not going to block with it. You're not even going to be able to attack me and get whatever value if you wanted to. So yeah, this card's just not great.
Right. Time will tell if this gets any better. But I don't know. Right now, I just don't think it's a very good card.
Yeah.
I mean,
Send to Oblivion.
I don't.
Print it again. Sent to Oblivion.
Oh, I mean, in that case, this is busted. I mean, this is straight up busted.
Yeah.
Right? Think about it then. Now your opponent has to respect it what is that trap?
Yep.
Like, do I have to spend a removal piece on it, right?
Yep.
And then think about if that card is printed, then your opponent has to think about it. And then if it's this card, you just wasted, what did you waste to do that, right?
Yep.
So this is just, I don't know. Is this D tier? Is this a D tier card?
Honestly,
Jim?
I see D tier. Like the situational part is I tap your card. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean,
get it out of my face.
There's no situation where this is good.
D minus.
Yeah, I T tier D. It's D, guys. It's D tier. I'm sorry. I can't talk myself out of it. It's D.
No. I'm talking myself into making another tier for T-Bone Shockwave is what I'm doing.
All right, well, that's T-Bone Shockwave. Next one we have is Streaks Assemble. Streaks Assemble is a 2-cost, 1 required resource trap accessory in the common rarity. It says counterattack. Put 2 streak counters on target clash card you control. Remove those counters after this clash.
Oh my goodness.
Jim, what do you think about Streaks Assemble?
Can we put this with T-Bone Shockwave?
Yeah, dude.
There's only like one. Okay, all right. Technically, it's not only one good card because on defeat, if your card dies, you do get to draw a card.
Yes.
If you're running the mean streak. Other than that, this card's garbage.
You're not running this again. This is another card you are only running in mean streak builds. Only running it in mean
I guess
streak
you
builds.
also have the other thing of for every streak counter on this card, then you either get attack or you get additional buff. But
this is extremely conditional.
Oh my god.
Like extremely.
Look, Dan, I'm just trying to think of those conditions and then be like, all right, why am I not putting this in D- tier? Okay. I'm trying to give me reasons as to why not D-, but this is looking like a D- card.
If this was one, this would be if this was one cost, this would be a lot better.
Yeah, this card would be decent.
Yeah, this card, yes, I would agree.
This card would be a solid D.
No, in all honesty, though, I think if this card was one cost, easy C plus in my mind. I think it's easy C plus if it's one cost.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but 2 costs.
No, this card's ugly at 2.
Yeah, this is. I
fugly.
agree. I agree. This is
guys.
This is not
be
very
lazy.
Good.
Remake this card 1 cost with 1 streak counter.
Now, granted, it is a trap. So again, you're doing this most likely on your opponent's turn.
Yeah. Well, because it's a counter attack, right? Isn't that you can? Oh wait, no. Are you able to do this on your turn?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can do it on your turn.
Oh okay.
Yeah, you can do this on your turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
I
better.
believe I'm pretty sure you can do this on your turn.
Okay.
Because there is a counterattack step.
Yeah.
So I believe you can.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. It's
at that point it's better than what I was giving it.
Yeah.
Because you can utilize it on your turn to give your 1 or that 2-drop guy plus 2 attack.
I think you can.
If you're able to.
I believe you can. Let's operate under the assumption you can. This is something I will check after this video just to confirm that. But I believe you can.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's still like we're trying to come up with a situation where this card is like halfway decent.
Yeah.
And we're having a hard time doing that. So that being said, Does it even get out of D tier, Jim?
We're gonna have to make another tier list. Tier.
No, dude. I think it's D, man. I think
this is not a good card.
I think it's D tier.
D tier or D minus?
Just D.
Is it worse than a decent card or a bad card?
I just think it's D. I think it's straight D.
Yeah, let's get it out of my face.
If I'm able to draw a card off it feels good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you
could.
You could.
You could, yes. You could. You could.
But at that point, why are you giving... Don't give me 2 streak counters. Give me 1 cost, 1 streak counter until the end of that clash.
Yes.
Give me that.
Yeah, just give me 1. Yeah.
Give me that.
Yeah, I don't want to pay 2 for this.
I don't want 2.
Yeah. Bad card. Bad card. Next card, Better Luck Next Time. Better Luck Next Time is a 2 cost, 1 required resource for another trap accessory, uncommon rarity card. It says counterattack. Target attacking clash card gets -3/-3 until end of turn.
Yeah.
Give me this.
Yeah.
Give me this. I will take this over Strix Assemble any day.
100%.
100%. Because this is minus. I mean, this is essentially a kill spell.
Yeah.
This is good.
This is a good card.
I mean, this is a solid B.
Yeah.
Solid B. I don't think it gets into A tier.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid B.
Yeah, I don't think it's... If it was... I mean, right now it's a lightning strike.
Yes,
right? It's not
correct.
like it's a lightning bolt.
It's not lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a decent card.
Yeah,
this is going to be
solid.
good pretty much at all points in the game. Mm-hmm. So...
And the other thing too is it's -3/-3 until end of turn. So if they somehow survive that, and you're able to ping it, there are things you can do. So keep that in mind as well. So that's Better Luck next time. All right, now we're going to move on to the Clash Grounds. Got 2 Clash Grounds again for blue.
Yes.
The first one is Garfield Park Lagoon. Garfield Park Lagoon, a 1 cost, 1 required blue resource. Chicago Earth Clash Ground is a common rarity card. It says Alpha Clash cards get +1/+0. Trigger enter. Each player draws a card, then discards a card. Pretty basic. I mean, Jim, what do you think about this?
You know, I really like it with Magnate. Give your Alpha cards +1/+1 with his effect as well. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's you help your opponent fix their hand with you help or getting that as well. Alpha is a very common affiliation.
Yeah.
It's just I just think it's an okay card. Mm-hmm. So I don't like that it's also helping your opponent out on that. So I'm gonna give it like a B-.
Yeah, I would agree. I was just gonna say B- as well.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. I mean, yay, we get +1, but we're both drawing and discarding. I only want to see the cards. Like if I'm playing a Clash Ground, honestly, I'd rather just something that me see, not my opponent.
Yep.
Honestly, I like Amazon. If I'm looking to see more cards, I'd rather play Amazon Rainforest over this card. Yes, even my opponent's drawing additional card every turn, but so am I, and hopefully I'm able to get to my answers before my opponent is able to get to his or theirs. So yeah, I'd rather see Amazon Rainforest. Yeah. So I think B- is the correct rating for Garfield Park Lagoon. And then the next one, last card that we have for blue, it is San Francisco. Yay. San Francisco is a 3 cost, 1 required blue resource. The San Francisco Earth Clash Ground is an uncommon rarity card. And then it says Alpha Clash cards get +2/+2, and then Alpha and Rogue Clash cards get Interception.
Yeah.
So got some good effects here. Jim, what do you think when you see San Francisco?
Well, you can get a lot of value from it, which is nice. The more I see Clash Grounds, the more I'm like, they kind of, I hate that they give your opponent effects, man. It hurts me so much.
And this one honestly is I think this is worse than the other ones because this is Alpha and Rogue. So yeah, if I'm running alphas, if I'm just running alphas, then I don't think I'm running this if I'm just running alphas. Because this benefits, yes, me, but also now the rogues, and pretty much everything in set 1 is all alphas and or rogues. I mean, yes, there's alpha hunters, but I don't know.
Majority of it's alpha, and then it kind of splits the rest of the percent with alpha hunters and rogues.
Right. So if I'm running a Clash Ground, I want to be able to abuse that effect.
Yeah.
And Interception is not an effect you abuse.
No.
You're running this. I think you're running this in response to your opponent trying to get to fly over you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think so I think in decks that care about this is good.
Yeah.
In decks that care about this, I'm wanting to remove my opponent's New York City, then this is very good.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm running this when my opponent is just continually trying to fly over me. Yeah. So that being said, I still think this is a main deck card and not a sideboard card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, just the Clash Grounds they're universally powerful effects, right? And it's not like I'm gonna sideboard. No, you're not. It's going to be prevalent. Like those effects are going to be prevalent. So, again, love the artwork. Absolutely phenomenal. That being said, where are you going to land on a rating for San Francisco? Because I think San Francisco is a direct response to New York City.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. So, I mean, honestly, I like New York City better because as a card, it is one that I can utilize and abuse more to myself, right? And for my strategy, correct. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. Is it lends itself more to a proactive strategy. This is reactive. So that being said, where would you land from for rating this guy?
I don't think it's an amazing card. I just think it's a basic card that is going to end the game either for your opponent or for you. But regardless, it's ending the game because if there's a lot of alpha cards in the set, someone's going to be getting some +2/+2s. So I just got to give it a B, or I could even see, I'm just going to say solid B.
Okay.
I'd say a solid B.
I think I'd agree.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you're again, I'm trying to think of ways of how you can use this proactively.
Yeah.
But then you have to have other cards that allow you to win. This is just, hey, you're gonna try to fly over me. No, I'm gonna stop you.
Yeah.
I'm basically gonna try and stop you, and then give me those stats to justify that.
Best case scenario, you give your stuff interception to stop flyers. Worst case scenario, you just get +2/+2.
I think
but you also help your opponent.
I think the best case of this card is in response to your opponent playing Moxie and trying to fly over you with those large weapons. This lets you stop that because they're playing Alpha Hunters, most likely. So that's where I think this card really would shine. I think B. I think B is the correct place to land a card like San Francisco. So. Yeah, so that's San Francisco, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the last card that we got for blue. So Jim, when we initially started looking at these cards, I know blue was a color that you're like, oh man, those street counters, not looking forward to it. So after going through all the cards now, where do you land on the color blue, man?
There's some really cool stuff that you could definitely do.
100% there are,
do I still think the color's not for me? Well, all right, I shouldn't say the color itself.
Sure.
But a lot of the stuff going on with Mean Streak is not for me. Yeah, I'd say it's still not for me. But I did really like going through all the cards, learning how they work, and be like, oh, I see all the synergies now that you could do with it. And there's some really cool stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So if you had to pick, what was a card that stood out to you? What was one card that really stood out to you after all these?
That Mean Streak interception card.
Yes,
that 3 cost.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That is just such good value.
Such a phenomenal card.
Such good value.
Which that one I didn't even see. I was looking through some of the blue cards, but I was just like, oh, Mean Streak, don't care.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that we went through it. And Haven is a monster of a card. That card is phenomenal.
Yes, absolutely.
So those were 2 that were really big for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we're going to turn over to you guys. What do you guys think of the blue cards? Which one was your favorite? And were we right? Did we get some wrong? What do you guys think? Let us know down below. I'm sure you guys are going to let us know. Don't hold back. We can take it. But yeah, definitely let us know. And again, if you want to see more Alpha Clash content in the future, don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified when we release more Alpha Clash content in the future. But again, I really want to know what you guys think. If you guys think we were wrong, we were right in some of these ratings, we'd be very, very interested to know.
The one thing about it, if you guys are going to get in the comments and saying, oh, well, what about this situation and this situation for this card? That's why C is situational. Okay? So if you're trying to argue a card that we already put in situational by you giving us these
situations,
very specific situations, you're just adding fuel to the fire and why we're correct. Okay.
What he said. So, all right, with all that being said, we're going to get out here. But yeah, don't forget, stay tuned to the channel. We've got a couple more colors to finish out for this first set, and then we're going to end it with some top 10 lists. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So thanks everybody for checking out this Alpha Clash video, and we'll catch you in the next video here at Hobbies and Happiness. See you, everybody.
Take care.